All right, let's get into it. Peter Thiel's 0 to 1. You know, it's not really a step-by-step formula for success, it's more of a mindset. The big idea here is that the next Bill Gates isn't going to build another operating system, and the next Mark Zuckerberg won't create another social network. See, if you're just copying them, you're not actually learning from them. This whole thing is about creating something that's totally, completely new.
So let's start where Thiel himself starts, with a question he apparently asks every single job candidate. What important truth do very few people agree with you on? It sounds pretty simple, right? But it's incredibly tough to answer. And why is that? Well, because brilliant thinking is rare for sure, but Thiel says courage is in even shorter supply than genius. This question really forces you to challenge what everyone else just accepts as true, and that, right there, is the starting point for anything brand new.
So, to build the future, and to even begin to answer that contrarian question, we first have to get our heads around the two basic ways progress can happen. This framework is really the core of the entire book.
Okay, now what's really key here is this distinction. You've got horizontal progress, going from 1 to n. That's all about copying things that already work. You know, imagine taking one typewriter and then just building 100 more of them. It's easy to picture because we've already seen it. But then you have vertical progress, going from 0 to 1. That's doing something nobody has ever done before. It's taking that typewriter and building the very first word processor. That is a whole different ballgame. So much harder to imagine and even harder to pull off.
And this visual really drives the point home on a global scale. That horizontal progress, that 1 to n copying, that's basically globalization. It's taking things that work in one place and spreading them everywhere else. But the vertical progress, that 0 to 1 creation, that's technology. And we're not just talking about computers here. When Thiel says technology, he means any new and better way of doing things.
So here it is, Thiel's own answer to that big question from the beginning. He argues that while most of us think the future is all about globalization, it's actually technology that's going to define everything. Why? Because simply spreading the old ways of doing things around the world just isn't sustainable. Without brand new technology, a globalized world where everyone is competing for the same limited resources, well, that just leads to disaster. The point is, we have to invent our way to a better future.
Okay, let's keep going because this next part builds into one of the most provocative ideas in the whole book. We're always taught that competition is great, that it's the heart of capitalism, right? A sign of a healthy market. Well, Thiel argues the exact opposite.
This quote really gets to the heart of it. Think about it. In a market with perfect competition, no company actually makes a real profit. The constant pressure from rivals just grinds profits down to nothing. So the goal for a business shouldn't be to just beat the competition. It should be to become so good at solving a unique problem that you don't really have any competitors. The real goal is to build a monopoly.
So how do you even know if you're building a real monopoly? Thiel gives us his handy 4-point checklist. First, you need proprietary technology that is at least 10 times better than whatever the next best thing is. Second, you need network effects, where your product actually gets more useful as more people use it. Third, economies of scale, meaning your business gets stronger as it gets bigger. And fourth, a powerful brand that nobody else can copy.
But here's the trick. You don't build a monopoly by going after some huge market right from day one. Nope. The strategy is to start small and monopolize. Find a tiny, specific group of people and just serve them obsessively well. Amazon is the perfect example. Jeff Bezos didn't try to sell everything at first. He aimed to dominate just one little niche, online books. And once he owned that market, then he scaled up, expanding into CDs, videos, and eventually, well, everything.
Okay, so if the goal is to build a unique monopoly, where do these big ideas even come from? According to Thiel, they come from finding what he calls secrets.
Now, a secret isn't some mystical, hidden knowledge. It's actually just an important truth that isn't widely known. Yet, it's an undiscovered opportunity. Asking that contrarian question, what valuable company is nobody building, is how you start searching for a secret.
You know, these secrets are often hiding in plain sight. Take Airbnb. Before them, people saw travelers who needed rooms and homeowners who had empty space, but they didn't see the massive, untapped opportunity to connect the two. Airbnb was built on that unsuspected secret. The world is still full of secrets just like that, but they only show themselves to people who are really relentlessly looking for them.
This brings us to a really powerful and, honestly, motivational way of thinking. You hear a lot of successful people say their success was just luck. Thiel says that view isn't just wrong, it's dangerous. It basically takes away our power to act.
This is such a critical point. A startup isn't a scratch-off ticket where you just hope for the best. It's an exercise in intelligent design.
You don't just mess around and hope something works. You make a bold plan for the future, and then you go out and you make it happen. A startup is the ultimate rejection of the idea that your life is just a game of chance. You have mastery. You can design your future.
So, to turn that whole philosophy into a practical tool, Feel lays out these 7 questions that every single startup has to answer. If you have solid answers for all of them, from your technology to your market to your unique secret, you're not relying on luck, you're mastering it. You know, a company that fails often has 0 good answers to these, but a truly great one like Tesla, they nail all 7. This is your checklist for actually designing the future.
And that brings us right back to the beginning, to that essential first step, thinking for yourself. The world is full of opportunities to go from 0 to 1, to create new things that make the future not just different, but better. So the final question is for you. What singular thing will you build?